The discovery. A lone polar bear trudged across a vast stretch of cracked, icy terrain. Once powerful and majestic, the bear now appeared frail and tormented. Its fur was clumped, discolored, and visibly moving, crawling with parasites that burrowed deep into its skin. Each step seemed like a struggle, its paws heavy with exhaustion. The wind howled, brushing over a creature fighting for survival. Abandoned by nature and surrounded by silence, the bear's eyes told a story of suffering. It collapsed onto the frozen ground, its breath shallow. Unseen, unknown, and almost out of time, the bear had become a ghost of itself. The closer look upon closer examination, the bear's condition was horrifying. Ticks, mites, and other parasites riddled its skin, causing sores and relentless irritation. Patches of fur were missing, revealing raw, inflamed flesh beneath. The bear scratched in agony, its claws leaving marks where the parasites had thrived. Infection was spreading, its eyes, once sharp and alert, were glassy and tired. Each movement was sluggish, as though life itself was draining from its body. No longer the mighty predator of the Arctic, this bear had become a victim of nature's cruelty. Alone, it had no way to fight off the infestation overtaking it. The rescue begins far above. A rescue team aboard a low-flying helicopter spotted something unusual on the ice. Through binoculars, they gasped at the sight of the sickly bear. Its weakened posture and parasite-covered fur told them this was urgent. Landing as close as safety allowed, the team moved quickly, bundled in heavy Arctic gear. Their mission was clear: save this bear. With supplies and medical kits in hand, they approached cautiously. One rescuer whispered, "We might be just in time." The urgency hung in the air. As they drew closer, the bear didn't even react. It was too weak to move. First contact. The rescuers reached the bear, kneeling beside it with steady hands and quiet concern. They examined its body gently, whispering words of comfort. The bear, though clearly in pain, did not resist. It had given up the fight long ago. One rescuer pulled out a medical scanner, while another prepped antibiotic salves and ointments. Carefully, they began cleaning the open wounds and spraying antiseptic across the worst affected areas. Their movements were calm, practiced, and full of empathy. Every second mattered. Though the bear didn't understand, something in its eyes showed a flicker of hope, a silent acknowledgement that help had arrived. The treatment begins. The team began removing the parasites one by one, using tweezers, combs, and disinfectants. Each tiny insect they removed revealed the extent of the damage. Months of suffering and neglect. Clumps of fur were trimmed to expose deep, infected sores. Every touch was careful, minimizing pain. The parasites were collected in a sealed container, a grim reminder of the bear's condition. Though the process was long and tedious, the rescuers worked tirelessly. With each parasite removed, the bear seemed to breathe a little easier. Small whimpers escaped his throat. Painful, yes, but finally paired with care instead of isolation. Shelter and safety. Once stabilized, the bear was carefully transported into a heated mobile shelter stationed nearby. Inside, the temperature was warm, the air clean, and the light soft. The bear was wrapped in thermal blankets and hooked to an IV line delivering fluids and antibiotics. It lay quietly, recovering from trauma and exhaustion. The shelter glowed gently against the harsh, white snow outside. For the first time in a long time, the bear wasn't alone. The rescuers monitored its vitals, adjusting treatment as needed. Each hour inside this refuge brought small signs of improvement: steadier breathing, slight movement, and flickers of awareness. Healing progress days passed in the shelter, and slowly the bear began to heal. The parasites were gone. Its wounds began to close, and patches of fur started growing back. Its body, once emaciated, gained weight, strength returning in each paw. The rescuers maintained a round-the-clock schedule, feeding it nutrient-rich meals and tracking recovery signs. The bear's demeanor changed too. Less fear, more awareness. It stood briefly one day, wobbling but determined. The transformation was happening. No longer a victim, it was now a survivor. The icy landscape outside remained the same. But inside, a life was quietly rebuilding itself from despair. Freedom in sight after weeks of care, the bear was ready to return to the wild. It stepped cautiously out of the shelter, its breath visible in the cold air. Its coat was thick and clean, its eyes alert once again. The rescuers stood a short distance away, not interfering but quietly watching with pride. The bear looked back once, pausing just for a moment. Then it walked forward confidently, each step a testament to the strength it had regained. The wind that once threatened its life now blew gently across its fur. It was no longer a ghost. It had become whole again. A bond beyond words. As the bear prepared to leave, one rescuer knelt in the snow. In a surprising moment of connection, the bear approached and gently nuzzled their arm. It was a gesture that needed no words. Silent gratitude from a creature saved by compassion. The rescuer's eyes welled with tears, overwhelmed by the connection. In that single moment, the line between human and animal blurred. It was raw, emotional, and unforgettable. The rest of the team stood in awe, witnessing something truly rare. The unspoken bond that only forms through trust, pain, and healing. Then, as quietly as it came, the bear turned away. The journey continues. The polar bear vanished into the endless white horizon, stronger than ever. It left behind deep paw prints in the snow, footsteps that told a story of survival. The rescuers packed up their gear, hearts full. They had witnessed a miracle not of medicine alone, but of willpower and compassion. The bear's journey was far from over, but now it had a chance. A new life awaited beyond the frozen expanse. And though the team would return home, that bear, once infested and dying, would always live in their memories as a symbol of hope, resilience, and the power of showing up when it matters.